The last man standing. Rain-slicked streets reflected the courthouse lights, turning the whole block into a smear of gold and black. Marcus Hale stood at the bottom of the steps, collar turned up, clutching a worn leather briefcase. It wasn't even his. He'd borrowed it from his neighbor because he figured people would take him more seriously if he had something to carry. Inside that briefcase were 6 months of sleepless nights, coffee stains, and notes written in a scrawl only he could read. 6 months of obsessing over one thing, saving his mother's home, the first blow. The courtroom smelled faintly of old paper and polished wood. Judge Roland Pierce sat like a monument behind the bench, his steel-gray hair combed back, glasses balanced low on his nose. He scanned the docket, then looked up. "Mr. Hale," the judge said, "you're representing yourself?" "Yes, Your Honor." There was a polite pause, long enough for the opposing counsel, Victor Langley, to smirk. Langley was the kind of man whose suits cost more than most people's cars. His reputation was legend in foreclosure cases: clean wins, fast settlements, and no survivors. "You understand," the judge said, "that Mr. Langley has decades of experience in this area of law?" "I understand." Marcus's voice didn't shake, though his palms were sweating. Langley leaned over the table toward his assistant, whispering something that made her laugh. Marcus caught the look in his eyes. Pity, mixed with arrogance. Langley went first. He moved like a performer, his voice smooth and deliberate. "Your Honor, the facts are straightforward. The bank followed every legal requirement. Notices were sent, deadlines passed, and payments were missed. While I empathize with Mr. Hale's situation, this is not about emotion. It is about law. The foreclosure was proper." He sat, folding his hands like a man already waiting for the judge's ruling. Marcus stood, feeling the weight of every eye on him. "Your Honor, my opponent is right about one thing: the law matters. But so does truth. And today, I'm going to show you that the truth has been buried under forged papers and missing signatures." Langley's head tilted, his smirk twitching. Marcus walked to the clerk's desk and handed over 2 sheets. The judge adjusted his glasses. "These," Marcus said, "are 2 versions of the same mortgage agreement my mother allegedly signed. The first is legitimate. The second was filed 3 months later, during a time when my mother was in the hospital, unable to speak or write. The difference was subtle, but the signatures' loops and strokes told their own story. Your Honor," Marcus continued, "this second signature is a forgery." Langley was on his feet instantly. "Objection, baseless accusation." "Overruled," the judge said without looking away from the papers. His eyes narrowed. "And that's not all," Marcus said. "This mortgage was sold multiple times before it reached the bank, trying to foreclose. Each sale should have an endorsement, a signature transferring ownership. The final transfer? No signature. Which means the plaintiff never legally owned the loan in the first place." The gallery shifted, whispers rising. Langley's jaw tightened. The witness they didn't expect. "I'd like to call a witness," Marcus said. Langley stood again. "Your Honor, the witness was not disclosed." "I only found her yesterday," Marcus interrupted. Judge Pierce considered, then nodded. "Proceed." From the back of the room, a woman stepped forward. She was small, nervous, and clutching her purse. Claire Benton, a notary public. Under oath, her voice trembled. "Ms. Benton," Marcus said gently, "did you notarize my mother's second mortgage modification?" "I did." "Were you present when she signed it?" A beat of silence. "No," the room gasped. "Then how was it notarized?" Marcus pressed. "A representative from the bank brought it to me. They said it had already been signed. I just stamped it." Langley jumped up. "Objection." "Overruled," the judge barked. "Ms. Benton, you understand that is illegal?" She swallowed hard. "I do now." The turn. Marcus turned back to the bench. Your Honor, what we have here is more than a paperwork error. This is a pattern. I've uncovered other foreclosures by this same lender with missing endorsements and questionable notarizations. This isn't about my mother anymore. It's about a system designed to take homes without the legal right to do so. Langley tried to speak, but the judge's hand shot up. Sit down, Mr. Langley. For the first time all morning, Langley obeyed. The verdict. Judge Pierce sat back, silent for a long moment. The air in the courtroom felt heavy. Finally, he spoke. This court finds that the foreclosure was initiated without proper legal authority. The forged signature and improper notarization are undeniable. The foreclosure is void. The property will be returned to the defendant immediately. The gavel came down with a sharp crack. Langley didn't move. His assistant stared at the table, cheeks flushed. Marcus exhaled slowly. He wasn't sure if the shaking in his hands was from relief or the adrenaline finally leaving his body. Aftermath. Outside, the rain had stopped, leaving the air cool and clean. A small crowd had gathered on the courthouse steps, murmuring. Did you hear that? He destroyed Langley. Man should be a lawyer. Marcus walked past them without a word. He didn't need their approval. He had something better, his mother's house, safe again. Behind him, the heavy courthouse doors opened. Judge Pierce stepped out, his robe billowing slightly in the breeze. You surprised me in there, Mr. Hale, the judge said. You weren't the only one, Marcus replied. The judge studied him for a moment. You've got a gift. Ever think about law school? Marcus smiled faintly. No. Maybe you should. With that, the judge descended the steps, leaving Marcus standing there, rainwater puddles glimmering around his shoes. The quiet victory. Back home, Marcus found his mother sitting by the window, the late afternoon light warming her face. It's done, he told her. We won. Her eyes watered. She tried to speak, but the stroke had taken most of her words. Instead, she reached out, squeezing his hand. For Marcus, that was enough. Justice wasn't always loud. Sometimes it was quiet, sitting in a sunlit room, knowing you'd gone toe-to-toe with someone bigger, richer, and stronger, and walked away standing. And if anyone tried to take what was his again, they'd find out exactly what he'd learned over the past 6 months. Power doesn't belong to the people with the most money. It belongs to the ones who never stop fighting.